Oh, hello there.
The Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree finally came out, and I'll be ranking its bosses by difficulty from easiest to hardest. Starting off at the number 9 spot, we have Needle Knight Leda and her allies. I would recommend summoning the NPC for this fight. It is still a 1v3 fight, even if you don't summon, it is still doable, but I think it's very difficult to do without so. If you manage to kill the first NPC before the second one spawns in, great, it'll be much easier, but it's still no easy feat. And then Leda spawns in, making it another 2v1 fight. If you don't have the NPC summon, it makes it really difficult, not gonna lie. But it's definitely the weakest and the most boring fight overall in the whole DLC, and maybe in Elden Ring itself. Moving on to the number 8 spot with the Golden Hippo found in the Shadow of Keep. The Hippo has the lowest number of movesets in the whole series. A series, but the DLC. His first attack is him opening his mouth and charging you for a grab attack. He will maul you to death if you get in his way. He can also stand on both of his feet, slam to the ground using his belly, but make sure to roll because the belly slam has an AoE tag which deals a lot of damage. He has the same old biting attacks and some head slams into the ground. I found you can just dodge most of his attacks by just sticking to the side of him. The biggest problem is the camera, as you will be seeing his hollow inside for most of the fight. The second phase, he grows porcupines and showers you with his spikes during his transition. He will go up into the air and roll down onto you like he's Sonic the Hedgehog. He has the same moves as the first phase with an additional attack where he'll spin around and throw porcupines, a lot of them, everywhere. Even though he's the easiest boss, by no means is he an easy boss. I would say most of the bosses in this DLC are harder than 85% of the bosses in the base game. Moving on to the number 7 spot with Nachka 2.0, Romina into the Bud. She is found in the church, you've guessed it, Bud. She has 3 different weapons of attack, Stinger, Centipede Mouth, and her spear. Most of her attacks apply Scarlet Rot, which is probably the worst status effect she could apply. Luckily though, her spear attacks are supremely easy to dodge. She will point towards you with her spear and the Centipede Claw will grab you, then you'll get stung by the Stinger and will automatically apply Scarlet Rot and deal a lot of damage. She basically uses her whole roster of weapons. She will fly up using her butterfly wings, then will point her stinger at you, as will shine, and that's your cue to roll. When she transitions to second phase, she will fly up with a tornado of Scarlet Rot below her. She will fill up the arena with butterflies which will explode and once again, you've guessed it, deal Scarlet Rot. Sticking close to her will make her miss most of her attacks, especially with those centipede and her stinger. And I found that I can easily stagger her with my build, even though it's a really OP build, using bleed of course, and I'm still horrible at this game. Moving on to the number 6 spot with the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, found in Belly Rat Tower of Solomon. You will start off with a leaping attack upon joining the arena, and this one specific attack really irritates me. It's when he spins around while blowing wind the whole time. It's like 3 full spins, and it even almost killed me at the end when I was about to kill him. It will stand fully on its legs and smash on the ground with its head. When the lion bites twice, it will launch its head towards you, and it's a grab attack, and if you get hit, it's basically an instant death, at least in my case. During its second phase, the beast will fly up and switch its attacks with one of these elements, lightning, storm, or frost. I don't know if there's any specific order in which element it does first, but in my case I think it's always lightning first. All his wind attacks in the first phase will be substituted with the specific element. Also, in the lightning phase, after each attack, there's a bunch of lightning that will be struck after he finishes every other attack. It's the first boss of the DLC and it's an amazing start to the DLC. Moving on to number 5 spot with Commander Gaius. Honestly, I was not gonna fight this boss initially because I hate horseback fights. Well, technically it's a boar fight here. Well, the only reason I fought him because he has 5 scheduled trees behind him, which is really worthwhile. Now onto the boss himself. He is found in the Shadow of the Keep once again. Upon joining the boss gym, he will rush you with his boar, and the only way I found to consistently roll through it is using the light roll, which is perfect for these boss slash animal type fights because it really helps with extra iframes and their large hitbox. He uses gravity in most of his attacks. For example, you like throw a spear shaped gravity projectile at you. During his transition into the second phase, he'll do a big gravity AoE attack, so look out for that. He'll also go up in the air and slam down to the ground. I've said go up in the air and slam into the ground quite a lot this video, haven't. He'll also throw like a black hole which will keep expanding until eventually explode. His health isn't really that high, but he's supremely aggressive and has like that one really long combo, which is horrible to dodge. Moving on to number 4 spot with the Peterson Knight. Another horseback fight. Why are there so many beast slash enemies in these boss fights? But this time it ain't any horse, it's a 2-legged horse that's faster than a normal horse. He's found in the Fissure Depths. He wields a familiar looking weapon. He deals frost damage, and after falling an unnecessarily long fall, his first attack is usually when he jumps off his horse and does a sequence of spinning attacks, and even the horse joins in. And don't be stupid like me and try to attack him during this sequence. If you're too far away from him, he's most likely gonna throw his weapon at you and will come back like a boomerang. The second phase, he will rise up from the black goo and will send a blue fire your way. All the way of dodging the blue fire is jumping, but the animation is very weird. It looks like you're hit by it, but you're not, and you still dodge it. Moving on to the number 3 spot with Renala Twin Moon Knight, found in Castle Ensis. So we all know how hard Melania is, right? But she had one saving grace. She gets staggered by like every other hit. So now imagine Melania dual wielding blades and does not get staggered, minus the healing on each hit and the 2 health bars of course. That's Renala in a nutshell. Honestly, her attacks are so satisfying to dodge, and honestly it's my favorite fight in the whole DLC. She has a lot of magic attacks ranging from magic arrows, projectiles, and even a magic greatsword. Now with the second phase, one blade becomes a magic blade and the other becomes a fire blade. She'll make a tornadoes of fire, and even at low health she will summon 2 moons. Although it's a menacing looking move, I found it to be the easiest part of the whole boss. Just jump 3 consecutive blasts, and that's basically it. If you don't, you'll most likely die. Honestly, this is the perfect fight. Long but fair combos, no blindsiding attacks.
In the embrace of Messmer's flame. In the embrace of Messmer's flame. In the embrace of Messmer's flame.
And that's what I've been hearing for the past 4 hours. Found once again in the Shadow Keep. At the start of the boss and the second phase, he'll create a giant fireball which explodes almost immediately after it hits the ground. He is supremely aggressive and gives you no breathing space. He has so many delayed attacks, it's infuriating. There is that one attack where he'll spin his spear while flying up and then he'll attack a bunch of times with his spear in like a second, which I thought was unavoidable, but just rolling at the right time will solve the problem. And then he'll slam into the ground, and with that, with a lot of spears spawning from the ground, he is relentless. Second phase, he will unleash his inner serpent by pulling out his eye and cracking it. I don't really know how that makes sense, but his snake attacks are very similar to those of Frykor. He will summon a bunch of attacks who will charge at you and he will attack you at the same time. It's still a goated fight. Bit spammy, but still goated. Now, the hardest boss in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC goes to the one and only Radon. And I'm disappointed to say I was not able to beat him. I spent well above 12 hours on him, I think like 2 days, and the closest I've gotten was this. I get my heart stolen. I gave up then and there. His first phase is similar to like the original Radon moveset. His second phase is probably the hardest thing I've ever counted in anything, in any game. From his hologram attacks, to the holy beams after every single attack, to that one big AoE, and my frames dying even on a next gen console. I can't even see anything. It's horrible. And honestly, it is a very hard boss. And very spammy. But I think it's fair. And why? It is a final boss. Like, once again, it should be hard. That I think they did overdo it a bit. Yes, but it's still beatable. It's not impossible, it's still beatable. And I think he's worthy to decrown Melania as the hardest boss in any Souls. Or maybe full time, but that might be a stretch. I've switched my build like 5 times and still nothing. So I want you guys to help me out and recommend any build, and I will try the top comment or the top builds I like. But please no magic, because I have nothing against magic, but I just don't have any magic spells, nor I enjoy using magic. And this was my ranking of the bosses of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. And tell me down below which boss gave you the most trouble.